Good afternoon, everyone. Kind of starting a couple minutes early here, but I think everyone's seated. To start this last session of the day, to start off with a FlexCare fact, if you have NCI Pro and/or hosted antivirus, NCI offers monthly tickets for our budgeted customers. As a budgeted customer, you can now subscribe to these tickets by talking to your account executive. Rather than checking your devices to verify that you have the latest updates, NCI will now do that under these monthly tickets. For the last session of the day, it's titled Unlocking AI Collaboration with Microsoft. The presenter we have today is Ken LeCastre. He's Development Executive of AI Business Solutions and Copilot at Ingram Micro. Hope I worded all that correctly for you, Ken. Ken is a Microsoft Development Executive specializing in Copilot for Ingram Micro. While Ken is focused on Copilot, he has experience across all 4 Microsoft clouds. Give it up for Ken from Ingram.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We've got last session of the day, best for last, awesome. Love that. Looks like the room is full, so appreciate that as well. Okay, so when I was asked, what do you want to do for this session? We were talking about teams and collaboration, and what is probably the biggest tech thing that we've heard over the past year and a half, 2 years, AI, right? So we'll be talking about a bunch of those things. But I was like, all right, I've got this deck that I've worked out, I've planned, I've gone through a bunch of different times, ran through it. This is the first time I'm actually presenting this. So it's a little bit interesting for me because you guys are sort of my test pilots with me, right? But ultimately, a lot of times it would take me hours, sometimes days. I would be just going over and reviewing and reviewing and reviewing. And something that's come into our lives, Copilot, AI. AI has allowed me to actually take what typically would take me hours and days, and sometimes I could get it into minutes or maybe just an hour. So with that, if you enjoy the presentation, I'll take credit. If you don't, we'll blame Copilot, okay? Okay, let's jump in. So when we're talking about AI, we're talking about your Microsoft tenant. We're talking technically about something you may not have heard of before, which is a Microsoft graph. Hands up, anyone I could see. Anyone ever heard of the Microsoft graph? See like 1 hand, 2 hands, a few hands, great. Okay. So ultimately, this is the patterns of productivity that help identify either person or the security within the organization. It helps access between a unified endpoint because Microsoft Graph actually resides in the cloud. It doesn't just lock down to one traditional operating system. For this, we're allowed to pivot and actually make a different kind of experience for a user, and it's what Microsoft would call a people-centric experiences. But ultimately, that's bringing in your applications, everything that's designed around you, your calendar, conversations, communications, tasks, your files, much, much more. There we go. All right. Okay, so knowledge by default. A lot of people are worried about oversharing data within AI. When you're using Microsoft 365 Copilot, by default, it's actually pulling data from your Microsoft Graph. So the everything that's within your tenant. But it's also respecting the boundaries of like your permissions. So let's say I'm the CEO of a company and I have access or in a global admin. I may have access to more than someone who's a person in sales, right? So we're still respecting a lot of those boundaries, but you'd see it's coming from SharePoint, OneDrive, your Office 365 applications, and Teams. We also have the opportunity to bring in third-party applications or third-party systems so that we're actually able to bring outside data into our tenant and able to utilize that with Copilot. So Microsoft is always customer zero. Fun fact about me, I worked for Microsoft for 7.5 years. I have my doctorate in the crazy thing that is Microsoft's naming conventions. Wonderful products, very difficult to understand exactly what everything is, right? So when Microsoft says Copilot's early impact, and this is at Microsoft, they're talking about M365 Copilot, your paid version. They actually surveyed and looked at data across Microsoft employees, and they're looking at different business functions. They saw faster resolutions for customer service, higher sales. We're even getting into marketing, finance, HR, where they have self-service portals that allows for people to utilize AI and find some of the information that they might have had a meeting for before with someone in HR and actually curate that on their own. So something that's very interesting that Microsoft has done is brought Copilot Chat into all of our environments if we do so choose. Now, Copilot Chat is going to be in the paid version of M365 Copilot, but let's say that you are not ready to deploy that to an entire organization. You actually have the opportunity with your Microsoft Business License to bring out a Copilot Chat free version and still be able to leverage enterprise data protection so that you're not training any large language models. That's a huge benefit. Okay, you're looking at ChatGPT, Gemini, all these different products that are out there. A lot of times, if it's free, you're the product. We're training on your data. You'd see within Copilot Chat, for your free or your paid version, we're not training any large language models, and we're respecting what's called enterprise data protection, as long as we're leveraging our Entra ID from our business license. One thing to mention here that's actually been, this was announced, I want to say, about 2 months ago. So there's all this talk about OpenAI, because Microsoft made a $14 billion investment into OpenAI. They wanted the latest and greatest models. What Microsoft actually was able to do was get the latest models from OpenAI, like GPT-5, and from the release date, 30 days in, you would see that come to all of Microsoft's AI products. So when we're talking about Copilot Chat, a lot of times we're thinking about, okay, I have this paid license and I'm doing all these different things. I may be curating a Word document. Maybe I don't want to modify that. Maybe I have that document already up. You would see that you have the ability to open up Copilot Chat and reference and inference on that document within your productivity app. Maybe there's certain key indicators in there that you're just looking to sort out. Integrating Copilot Chat into your applications as well as Teams is going to help you identify and open up files, help you search and be able to discover items and trends a little bit faster. So Copilot and Teams. You're getting a lot of the contextual awareness when you have it integrated, that paid license, where you may be utilizing the deep understanding of a Teams meeting. Who's ever been double booked for a meeting? Everyone. I don't see every hand up. You guys are liars. Everyone has been double booked for a meeting, right? But ultimately what we're able to see is that you're able to get into a meeting and you're able to say, catch me up on what has happened so far. Has my name been mentioned? No longer do you even have to go to that meeting. Say you're out on vacation, but you wanted a review. If you actually have a paid Microsoft Copilot license, you would be able to be on that meeting, go back, see if your name was mentioned, see what files are actually maybe assigned to you, or some of the tasks that you have. And then you would have the ability to go in and actually extract that data and figure out your next steps. Huge time saver. You're also going to see things like insights. Copilot's going to give you suggestions on next steps. A lot of cool things that are in there, along with the thing that Microsoft's really focused on more than anything else, which is your security and governance. So when we're talking about AI, we're talking about Teams, security is at the forefront. It is our foundation. Microsoft's always going to be respecting your governance and your security boundaries that you have in place. This is a very busy slide. However, what I've seen is that Teams, I was like, Teams has got everything. We don't need another update for Teams. Well, I was wrong. All of these things came out as of September, and a couple of things I wanted to point out was something called the facilitator agent. So getting back to Copilot for M365, facilitator agent is going to be an out-of-the-box agent that actually can help time meetings. It's going to help keep people on track. It's going to take notes for you. No longer do you have to have a note taker. You're no longer going to have that was a great meeting, what was said in it, right? You're going to have something that's going to be able to take all of that for you and really make your life more about the conversation and concentrating on how you're able to be productive. Some of the cool things also are going to be like with Teams Rooms. You're going to see it deployed onto Android. You would be able to have, Microsoft likes to call it in the hallway meeting. So you would have the ability to pull up and have a conversation with someone, have it actually take notes on that, and you would be able to then move on and have a greater discussion with a larger team. So ultimately, Microsoft is looking at M365 and Copilot as conjoined now. No longer is it just your productivity app, it is going to be your AI assistant. And with that unique individual, there's going to be a Copilot on every device, Copilot for every user, and then there's going to be agents behind every business process. So thinking about whether you're in HR, you're in sales, you're leading a manufacturing team, you're going to be able to have automated processes that are going to give you back time in your day to focus on the most important thing, which is typically productivity and results. Microsoft is really at the cusp of what they're calling their frontier of this. So if it's something that is newer to you or something that you would like a little bit more information on, just make sure you're getting with your network center representative. Okay. So where Copilot for M365 really wows. Copilot Chat has changed my life personally. Before I was going in, I had to do a lot of sorting, so I was a person that had to create a go-to-market strategy for Ingram Micro and how we're actually going to be working with specific partners, and then I had to curate all the documents. And if you looked at Copilot, it is changing daily. It is difficult for me to keep up. So I'm able to now look at things like I have the ability to pull in my internal work data and then also ground in the web. So if there's something I'm looking for or maybe an update, I'm able to then use my web grounding to help me curate all that stuff. I could do that right from Copilot Chat. Your analysts and researcher agents are out-of-the-box agents that are going to be, if you've ever been upset with Microsoft about the cost of something, use researcher and analyst. Why? Researcher actually costs Microsoft more money than it does the license itself. It is wild, but it's actually pretty cool because you could do executive summaries. You could deep dive into, perhaps you have a whole new product line. You're able to put all that information into researcher, and researcher is going to start to show you trends. Or give an executive summary. Let's say that you have to give a presentation to a board. You're able to put that all into researcher and have it identify some of that information that you might have glossed over or you might just not have the time to look at all at once. I talked about Copilot and Teams. Again, never take a meeting note again. There's just no need for it anymore. We're evolving as our productivity has been, I would say our productivity has been taking a little bit of suffering, what Microsoft has called digital debt. and they're trying to look for ways that we're able to actually get some of that time back. So you could also be prepared for every meeting. So think about being able to go into a meeting and saying, these are the people I'm meeting with. Could you give me, if they sent me an email over the past week, what are the highlights of that? Maybe you're coming back from a vacation. Maybe you want to spend more time with your kids. No longer do you have to sit there and do all these arduous tasks of looking. Allow Copilot to do that for you. Notebooks is a strange one. To be honest with you, I haven't really cracked this, but this is more of that collaborative piece. It's ultimately something where you're looking at like onboarding, bringing in new roles, and then collaborating. I'll get back to you on that next year and see if it's still around. So I talk a lot about Copilot, right? Not every organization is ready to deploy AI across an organization. Microsoft still has a solution for you. There's something called Teams Premium that has built-in intelligent recap so that you're able to have a meeting and then you're able to get a summary of that meeting and you're able to find out exactly what was said and some of your follow-up. This is also integrated into Copilot, but as I mentioned, Microsoft is changing things on the fly and it's evolving quickly. This is where we're going to dive more into Facilitator Agent. This really allows you to, when I think about Facilitator Agent and what it's doing, it's allowing you, as I was saying before, you're able to co-author, you're able to collaborate. You're no longer leaving a meeting and you're saying, that was great, what was said. A lot of times when we're thinking about even learning, humans typically retain about 10% of the information that they've gotten from any given session. Facilitator is going to allow you to bring 100% of that back to you every single time. You're also going to have the ability to have something called an interpreter agent. So in real time, you're going to be able to translate into a litany of different languages. Some of our businesses may be global. Maybe we have, we're looking for more inclusive environments. We have the ability to have the interpreter agent actually go into about 10 languages, including French, Spanish, German, Chinese. There's a lot that's going on out there, and it's evolving and coming along daily. The one piece with Facilitator that I am still figuring out how to adopt myself is that it's really available on all devices. A lot of times when Microsoft is bringing out a product, you'd see that it's usually PC focused. This is actually rolling out across, as I mentioned, you're going to see some things on Android, but on your iPhones, you're going to be able to utilize this capability as well. This can be massive changes. I think if I'm someone who's right now looking at what is like the thing that AI is bringing to all of us, it's that ability to recall when maybe we were half asleep after maybe something like a Bills game. Go Bills. I am going to see if I could get this video to play, but this is actually Microsoft's marketing on how they envision M365 Copilot.
Microsoft 365 Copilot gives you secure, AI-powered answers connected to the web and your work data, including emails, files, and meetings, to handle everything from quick questions to complex tasks. You can also use the latest GPT-5 cutting-edge model. It offers powerful agents, such as Researcher, which is like having a dedicated research assistant to give you in-depth insights in moments. Or the Analyst Agent, which is like having a smart business assistant to help you make sense of numbers and get rich insights using plain language. Using agents is easy. Just mention them like you would a coworker. You can find new agents in the Agent Store, just like adding apps to your smartphone. And you can even create your own custom agents either directly from Copilot Chat or from Copilot Studio. Finally, the Create tab lets you quickly generate content like images, videos, and presentations, all with a simple prompt. With Copilot, you get the power of an AI assistant and agents at work, unlocking business transformation for everyone.
Nope, let's not
Microsoft.
do that. There we go. Okay. So Microsoft Copilot, how does it break down? We're talking about a license that's $30 per user per month. Microsoft does not like to necessarily give all the flexibility. So you're not able to do this in a month-to-month SKU. You have to have that annual commit. You'd actually see that they're intentional with this. Copilot actually takes about 3 weeks to fully integrate into and index into your tenant. I think this will start to become flexible, but ultimately right now, when you're looking at M365 Copilot, we're looking at a $30 license. With that, we're talking about some of what we heard in that video, researcher, out-of-the-box agents, but there's also going to be something with Copilot Studio. Before we get there, let's just make sure that we're hitting on some of the security features. The thing that probably comes up in almost all conversations across the board, I've had it with high levels of information officers, CISOs across big organizations. Is AI going to steal my information? Is Copilot going to train models? And Microsoft is very transparent to say, you have enterprise-grade governance, so some of what I was talking about with enterprise data protection, purview to make sure that you have all of your governance and compliance that you want in place. When you actually are rolling out an M365 Copilot license, you get no different access to data than you had prior. So if you already have Network Center put into place some of the great security tools and features, you're already great and you're ready to go. So a lot of people are like, how difficult is it to deploy Copilot? Buy a license, assign it to someone, let them start using it. Now, I'm oversimplifying that, but the thing to really drill down here is that Copilot customer data is never training a model. That is massive, that is huge. That is number one, again, probably the thing that comes up the most. So M365 Copilot allows you, great, we could do things within, it could create a Word document for me, create a PowerPoint presentation. We need more. This is what is really being in demand. We need to figure out how we're moving to that next step. People for that $30, they want more. And this is where Copilot Studio comes into play. You don't like one of the pre-built agents? Go ahead and build your own. You're able to, I am not a coder, never want to be a coder, but with natural language, I am able to create my own agents and share them across my team. I'm able to put that into SharePoint, I'm able to put that into Teams, and I look like a hero. And all I did was take my thoughts, type them into Copilot Studio, and have that really bring that out and me add in my data resources. It's incredible. Again, it has changed fundamentally how my business and my personal day-to-day looks, and I think you'll all see that in the coming months. Now, there's something that if you're really looking for something custom and it's way out of natural language and you are that coder, that's great. Microsoft has a solution for you. With Azure AI Foundry, you're actually able to create and utilize models, data tools, and really dive in. Microsoft, I cannot say it enough, is all in on AI, and it's here to stay. We heard it in the video, but agents, that Copilot chat, I call it the mothership. So mothership is that Copilot chat. That's usually where I'm starting my day now. Used to be Teams. I start it now with Copilot chat. I might say, what is the latest and greatest with Copilot for M365? What has been released this week? And then I'm actually going in and I'm looking at the agent store to see what's included, because there's a lot of third-party applications out there. I'll show you some of those in a minute. I'll be honest with you, I don't even like this slide. It's ultimately telling you everything that I've already told you, which is about natural language with Copilot Studio. The thing that's pretty cool is that the thing that Microsoft is always doing is adding. And so what seems like just a $30 license today, if you're locked in for that year, they're adding so much to it, and it's coming out faster than I can keep track of. Here are some of the highlights of those out-of-the-box agents. I've spoken about researcher, spoken about analyst. There's skills, there's survey, there's interpreter, there's project manager. So think about having the ability to start your own business and have a digital project manager right off the bat. It's pretty powerful. Facilitator, something that talked about integrated into Teams, taking notes for us, making sure that we're staying on time. These pre-built agents, again, all included with that $30 license. Trusted third-party apps. So that agent store really has everything in there. That we're over 1,500 pre-built agents. If there's a product that you're thinking about, some of the big names out there, Workday, Lucid, there's so many, and they're adding and adding and adding. They're available to you. Search your agent store. See if you're able to actually integrate that in, because it may be a product that you're already using. Integrate that in. See how it's able to change your productivity in Workday. So with the agent store, we go back to security. Security is going to be of the utmost importance. Maybe you don't want everyone being able to search every single third-party app out there and having it within their system, their experience day to day. Admins always have the ability to validate the security and make sure that they're in full control and have oversight over whatever is being downloaded within that tenant and each user experience. I've been up here for about 27 minutes. You've heard me say security. Microsoft's built on trust. This is Microsoft's, really, this is where they've separated themselves. There's really two enterprise-grade AI solutions that are in the workplace today. It's M365 Copilot, and it's ChatGPT Enterprise. Go ahead and look for some of the cost differences that are out there. Microsoft is committed and built on trust. It's talked about, I don't know if anyone owns Microsoft stock, former employee have Microsoft stock. It is talked about how much we need to make sure that nothing with generative AI is leaving a tenant unless really the end user is saying, yes, we're giving permission. So the permissions that you have in place today will remain the same. And that is something that I have to make sure that you realize, that AI is not going to just take over and rogue everything, and it's going to find all this different information. If you have the security in place, you're able to deploy M365 Copilot today. So when we're getting into some of there's a lot of questions about the ROI of AI I've already talked a little bit about the data security, AI security, some of the compliance. Make sure you have your E3, M365, E3, and E5 licenses. Should be in every tenant. But some of the management controls, the customization, one of the biggest things that's been added is being able to have measurement on the ROI. So Microsoft included with M365 Copilot licenses, Viva Insights, so that you're able to actually get the Copilot analytics, what it's called, measure who's using what with Copilot, but you're also able to do that with Teams, with Word, Excel, PowerPoint. This is to help build and see who is using what, where are we with this transformation that's happening so rapidly, where are we seeing these insights, and where do we have to make sure that we're putting and maybe deploying more time? Because again, this is changing so rapidly. So Microsoft included Viva Insights now into M365 Copilot. There it is again, enterprise-grade security. It is wild to me that Microsoft has transformed from some business that sold, I'm thinking of Office 91. Oh my goodness. They were selling that, and they were selling Windows 95 operating systems, to now being one of the largest security companies in the world. Over the next 3 years, there's about $150 billion that they'll be putting into security. 50 billion of that into the SMB and SMC markets, so those smaller mid-sized markets. Microsoft is all in, not only with AI, but with security, making sure that it's integrated into all of your apps. And something that is really important when we're talking about the difference of free versus paid is the contextual awareness. So yes, you can have Copilot chat that is free, but that's going to be one-off inferencing that's using web reasoning. When you have that paid license, you have the ability to then use tenant reasoning, understanding the context of the data that is within your tenant, keeping secure boundaries, making sure that no one's getting into anything that they shouldn't be, and then giving you rich insights based off of your day-to-day. There is still a lot of oversharing. There's a lot of businesses that think that they've done everything that is needed in regards to their data, right? They think their data may be clean. Microsoft has recognized that AI is sort of uplifting a lot of this. That AKA, that's a Microsoft specific URL. If you're ever looking at what Microsoft is looking at as the blueprint for oversharing and how to mitigate any of the risk, you could go to that website, download a PDF, also has a PowerPoint, and it will lay it down or lay it out for you. Ultimately, it could be daunting. I'd say get with your network center rep. But Microsoft has made sure that we have the ability for no data loss, everything staying within your tenant, your M365 tenant boundary. The regulations, so think about audit logs. Everything that you're doing with security today, you're going to be able to do with AI. And ultimately, it even has things like legal holds, which is newer to AI. So it's pretty in-depth, and this is evolving over time as well. So if you're looking at, is my data really everywhere it should be, and you're not sure where to start, I would head to that URL, and we could get that over to you if need be, and make sure that you have that site and download that PDF. Microsoft is big on the successful deployment, and they've really, for a lot of times, you can't get a Microsoft person on the phone. I was one of those people who was calling out, and I was saying, hey, I'm from Microsoft. They said, you're a liar, and hung up on me. It's difficult to get a hold of someone at Microsoft from time to time. But Microsoft recognized with AI They're not going to be able to do that whole. It's just not possible when we're trying to deploy something as powerful as AI. So they've put out a success kit. They have it for business leaders, your IT leaders, and even end users. Some of the decision makers sometimes is the people, right? They want these powerful tools. They want time back in their day. They want that digital debt to be reduced. And Microsoft has actually put out an adoption hub where you would be able to find success kits, personas, the ability to actually go in and see scenarios for your individual job. There is even an event site where you could put an M365 Copilot and you would be able to register, and you're going to get someone from Microsoft who's going to be able to train you at your own leisure. They have specific times, but they have that for personas as well. So let's say that you're talking with your network center rep and you're saying, let's deploy this, and you're busy. Maybe you're going on vacation. You're not sure exactly where to start. You're going to be doing some paid services down the road, but you want to get integrated with something. You're going to be able to go and you're going to be able to register for an event, and Microsoft's going to walk you through. It's one-to-many, it's not one-to-one, but they're literally on the call. They're on that Teams call. It is different. I have not seen Microsoft do that in about 10 years. So this is all available, and you could start with the Adoption Hub. That's really where we're going to see a lot of rubber meet the road with some of the personas. So I mentioned Viva Insights before and Copilot Analytics, the ROI and business value. This is ultimately where maybe you're the person who's championing, or you're voluntold that you have to find the AI solution that's going to be right for you. You're going to want to make sure that you're being able to get some of that rich data. If you have your M365 Copilot license, you now have Viva Insights. You're able to get that measurement for your tenant, and you're able to see how that works. So that is value in and of itself. Microsoft adding a different license into something else. They don't do that often. Okay, so AI, we've heard about it. I've said it a billion times, but ultimately it comes down to really three things. Are leaders and employees ready? If you don't feel like you're ready, do you feel like you have a culture that's able to adapt to learning something new? And when we're looking at AI, how are we measuring exactly what is going on so that we could identify where we're having success and where we are seeing some opportunities for growth? And we want to collaborate and bring all those three together. And with that, I appreciate everyone's time. Left about 10 minutes for Q&A. And if there are no questions, I'm assuming that means that I did such a wonderful job that we're all buying M365 Copilot licenses when we walk out that door. So any questions? Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, a couple of questions.
Sure.
So on the licensing, is that the same typical floating license where I can assign it to the CEO and the VPs and stuff like that? If they don't like it, they're not using it. Kind of pull that license, give it to somebody else?
Yeah, I think there was a mic that's coming around, but the question was, with M365 Copilot, if let's say I was your employee and I'm like, this AI ain't for me.
Yeah.
Could I take it away from me and then put it to someone else? Yes, absolutely. So yeah, it's not a license that once it's assigned to someone, it's there for the entire duration.
So
That's
we
correct.
buy 10 of them for a year and assign it to 10 people that we think is going to use it and kind of experiment.
Exactly.
Push it around as needed.
As needed, what you would want to, so like I mentioned, it takes about 21 days to index. Give it about 2 months, and don't let it sit in IT. Give it to those curious people. Each room in the house. So yes, and 10 licenses. It's funny that you call that out. Microsoft actually says, hey, we're going to give you this and this and this, and it's talking about 10 licenses. So maybe you should go work for Microsoft.
So,
What's up?
Second question, earlier in the slides, going through the different options there, you're referencing like Teams rooms. I saw there might be like a Teams panels. any of those address, like we've got Lenovo tabs mounted on our walls outside of meeting rooms. Is there a way that we can get Teams on those tablets or on those devices so that it ties in with meetings that are scheduled for that room? Who's going to be involved in meetings?
So what you're talking about is devices that are already in a room, almost like the question was around like if we have like a meeting room and
Kind of like the TVs that are outside the room.
the
right
TVs
now
that are
show
out there
what's going on.
that show what's going on. Yeah.
We've got that
So
right now with a third-party app that ties
so
in.
so with the third-party app, you would actually want to take and get with your network center rep and get Teams Rooms Pro. That's what's going to be. That's where you're going to see that difference in that the third-party app that you're using now. You're going to change that to Teams Rooms Pro or Premium. It's been a minute, but yeah, it should be that.
On essentially any tablet or any hardware? 'Cause
It,
looked at in the past where Microsoft said, no, you can use these 3 panels and that's all. It doesn't support Android or Apple or whatever we want to throw at it.
so last I saw, they were making everything available with Teams Rooms so that it could be on the go. So like we're on our Android phone, we're on our iPhone. Yes, you could put that, and then we're having that meeting. I would run into you in the hallway and say, I got the next greatest idea that's going to make us $1 billion. Okay, I'm not going to remember what you say. We remember about 10% what that is. You're able to have that on your phone, sort of move Teams Rooms around.
Sure.
That's essentially what that would be. Yeah. We could talk about this a little bit after.
Okay.
Any other questions out there?
Transcription, or is that a
No, that's voice.
It is voice.
That is voice. I was on it. So the question being about the interpreter agent. So sort of wild. I am part of this panel for Microsoft. I'm a Copilot captain, all right? So captain here. We actually have all of the Americas. So we're talking LATAM as well as the US. One of the leaders, natively Spanish speaking. I was on there and I was looking at his lips and I was hearing the words and it wasn't matching up and I go, what the heck is this? And then I look in the corner and I see interpreter app. I go, all right, fair enough. We're in the future. So yes, it's going to be voice. And you actually, at some point, there's going to be some stuff like Copilot memory. We could dive into, I need hours when we're talking about sessions on AI, but there's going to be items like Copilot memory and then voice transcription so that even down the road, it would sound more like your voice versus just a general voice. But yes, it's going to be voice.
When you log into your work account, you get access to Copilot, but also you can get a $30 license. From the compliance perspective, in theory, Microsoft doesn't use your data to train their models with either account. So is there any reason to pay for a $30 license?
Free is for me, right? So
Well, it's not really free.
No.
You're already paying for a work account.
Yeah, no. You're absolutely right. Just making a joke there. Yes, absolutely. When you're paying for a Microsoft Business license, what you're talking about is that Copilot chat that's free. It gets into something called the semantic index. You're going to be doing one-off web reasoning. So it's not understanding what's in your environment. It doesn't understand the context of what's in your environment. It's then, you're even able to put in some of your work data. It's not training a large language model. It can be free. However, you're able to do that one-off instances. It's not integrated into your productivity apps the same way, and you're not getting the semantic index, which is taking your graph data and putting context to your question. It's doing off of web reasoning. So that's why they're offering a free version and then a paid version still. Cool. Got one, okay, cool.
So is it a possibility for our company, we have agents that log into a website. Can we connect Copilot to that website? So for example, if I want to look up one of our clients and I want to say, just Karen, can you look up Karen's contract? What is her total rent? Can I look up, get information from Copilot? Can I access our website could we somehow link it so it'd be able to look through all of our files? Is that an option? Or would it have to be like on a server or on something? Because we have a website where all of our clients, all the information is on there.
What? So, oh, sorry, this sounds like it's a little bit louder. I don't know if I'm just like, I'm amped up. I'm just like get adrenaline pumping. I feel like I did an okay job. So ultimately what you're talking about is something I've created an agent for myself, right? And the agent is, I've been working with Microsoft stuff forever and ever and ever and ever. And you're talking about specifically a knowledge base. So that knowledge base is a website, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So everyone comes and asks me questions, and it creates digital debt for me. So what did I do? With natural language, I created a website. One of the knowledge bases was learn.microsoft.com. So then when people come and ask me 40 different questions, I put it all from there, copy and paste it. One of my references is that website. So just like the website you're talking about, it's inferencing off of there. Now you have one of your knowledge bases. Congratulations, you have an agent. There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
From a marketing standpoint, we're a team of 3, and it gets a little overwhelming during our busy times.
Digital debt.
Yeah.
Shout out.
And so with the graphic part I saw, you can just add a prompt.
Create, yeah.
So we use Adobe programs for our design.
Sure.
Is there a way to plug that in to show our templates and then somehow integrate our website to be like, create an 8-page catalog with this material, so we're not doing everything manually ourselves? We'd have to obviously go back and double check everything. I'm not sure if that's something that it partners with like Adobe InDesign or anything like that.
Short answer is I'm not entirely positive. Longer answer is Microsoft always plays well with other people, when I say people, other industries and other competitive products. Typically there's an API connection. What you would be able to do in that case, if there isn't just an API already built for Adobe, because Adobe's trying to sell their own AI stuff, is you would be able to inference and put that into that collection of data into a repository, and then say this is what we're using now, and we would want to utilize Create moving forward. But to your point, I'm not entirely positive. I wish I had Copilot up here in my back pocket. But I believe the answer to that is you're able to connect a third-party API. Adobe is one of Microsoft's trusted partners. But it's something I'll have to look into. We could talk about that.
Great, thank you.
$4:45 on the dot. I can't be this good. Okay. All right. If there are no other questions, thank you very much.